Hardleft Labour members and activists suggested that MPs who are not loyal to Mr Corbyn should have the threat of deselection hanging over them. The threat comes after Jon Lansman, the founder of the left-wing proCorbyn group Momentum, was elected to Labour's National Executive Committee this week in a huge boost of support for the embattled leader. But while many claim Labour needs to pull together and unite if they have any hope of defeating Theresa May and the Tories, Mr Corbyn instead refused to condemn the suggestions. Instead, he confirmed the party would look at democracy within the party and look at the process of selections. Jeremy Corbyn is facing more Labour infighting, and he ominously added that MPs should all be accountable all the time. Mandatory reselection would see all Labour MPs forced to win the support of half of the local members in order to stand again in a general election. Momentum members and those who back Mr Corbyn insist the move is a boost for democracy and would make MPs more accountable to the constituents and local party members. Paul Mason, the left-wing commentator and supporter of Mr Corbyn, recently suggested that MPs should have the threat of deselection hanging over them ahead of every general election. Jeremy Corbyn refused to rule out deselection, but critics say reselection would be used as a tool to remove MPs who disagree with Jeremy Corbyn, who has sparked huge disagreements within his own party for his non-committal stance on Brexit. One Labour source said, "It's an outrage that alone could suggest re-election as a so-called boost for democracy within Labour. It's a joke." Jeremy Corbyn has been an extremely divisive figure, and while I personally can accept that he is the leader, I even voted for him in both selections, others should have the right to disagree with some of his opinions on Brexit. In particular, Theresa May and the Tories are all over the place batting with their own infighting and constant cabinet chaos, and Labour should be using this to push forward as the calming voice of Britain. Instead, we're doing the exact same thing and look like a total shambles of a party threatening to kick out good, strong MPs purely because they have the guts and courage to speak mind. Travesty. It's all well and good for Corbyn to surround himself with loyal MPs, but at the end of the day, he's digging his own grave. Labour member another added, "It's all well and good for Corbyn to surround himself with loyal MPs, but at the end of the day, he's digging his own grave." Lifelong Labour voters will be put off voting for him if he continues with this hard-left agenda. And all that will achieve is to hand the Tories more power. There's a fine line between sticking to your principles and making a selfish mistake at the risk of the thousands of people suffering from Tory austerity. Mr Corbyn's leadership received a boost earlier this week after Mr Lansman, who helped secure Mr Corbyn's 2016 re-election, along with Yasmin Dar and Rachel Garnham, were elected to the NEC. Corbyn said MPs should all be accountable all the time. 3 won nearly 200,000 votes between them out of the 315,000 cast after appealing to the grassroots Labour members who signed up to the party because of Mr Corbyn's election as leader. The election is expected to allow the Labour leader to make huge overhauls to the party's constitution while cementing a hard-left takeover. However, one source on the Labour left told Express.co.uk, "A lot of sound and fury has been generated by Jeremy's comments, but the reality is that he doesn't want to risk the negative publicity of multiple deselections and internal battles. It's not on Momentum's agenda. However, he's refusing to rule it out for two reasons. He wants to enforce discipline in the ranks of the PLP, which he knows will be more difficult as Brexit progresses, and he needs to indicate to his core supporters that the full Democratic Party they were promised will arrive eventually."